Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. So, what is it I'm supposed to speak about again? What do you want me to speak on? Oh, Hare Krishna. What is it? The topic again is to speak about which aspects of brahmachari life? Make brahmachari life sustainable. Okay. In other words, how to survive in the brahmachari ashram. Well, surviving in the brahmachari ashram. Sometimes, devotees are a bit childish about this thing. We think that, if somebody's a brahmachari and then later on they become a grihastha, we think, oh, they fell down. But actually it's not like that. But it's progressive. I know Tamal Krishna Goswami, he liked to see devotees take responsibility. So he encouraged the people, somebody's a brahmachari and they want to move into grihastha ashram. It's not wrong because they're taking some responsibility. If the question is, are they giving up their service? Are they reducing their service by becoming grihastha, or are they increasing their service? If they're increasing their service, then it's good. We definitely want devotees to always think about increasing their service. So brahmacharis, they have a duty to serve in the Krishna consciousness movement. And I remember when I joined the movement, the first service I was given, the devotees were manufacturing incense. Because, in those days, we didn't have a congregation. We didn't have people, or we didn't have too many people supporting us. So it was difficult to maintain the temple. We were renting the building. So we were always behind in the rent. We never had money for rent, and even to get boga, to get the vegetables and so on. We would usually go into the market and we would just ask people to give donations. We didn't have much funds. We were living from hand to mouth, we would say. And we were really depending on Krishna. I remember we were putting on Rath Yatra. This must have been 1971. We were having Rath Yatra festival, and the devotees came from Germany. And Sachinandan Maharaj he was a new devotee. He was not initiated yet. So he came also, and he went with me. We went to the market to get contributions because a lot of devotees came. Devotees came from Germany and devotees came from France. At least in those days we thought it was a lot of devotees. We were in London when I joined, we were 20 devotees. There were 2 ladies and the rest were all men, young men. I was one of the older devotees. I was 22. The other devotees were pretty young. Mahavishnu was there. He's older than me. And Subhag was there also. He's also older than me. So we all got initiated together actually. Mahavishnu Swami now and Subhag Swami, of course, now. And we all got initiated. There were about 15 or 20 of us all got initiated together. So we were all brahmacharis at that time. So when I joined the movement, you know, we were all brothers. There were maybe one or two couples, householders, but everybody else was single. And so it was easy it was natural to be brahmachari and to go along with all the devotees. And the brahmacharis also lived very simply. We didn't have any possessions of our own. Whatever we had, we shared. We had the laundry, you know, because England is so cold. You know, you can't hang clothes outside to dry because it's so cold and wet and damp. You'd hang it for a week, it may not dry, you know. So we would do laundry, we'd take things to the washing machine. We didn't even have our own washing machine. We'd go to a place where the laundry machines were and put them in and dry them. And there was what we called it the merge. The merge, it was everyone's clothes, you know, and people just took, nobody had their own cloth even. So we were living like that, very simply and very joyfully. Every day we would have ecstatic Harinam Sankirtan. I was saying, when I joined, my service was they wanted me to look after the incense business, because that was the one thing which provided an income for the temple. Because I had some experience working in a business before, so I knew about, you know, purchasing things and dealing things, and then going to shops and wholesaling it in the shops. And so we did like that. I was doing that for a little while. But that's not a very good thing for a brahmachari. Brahmacharis really don't want to be doing business. Business is more for the grihastas. So I was doing the business when I first joined in the beginning, but you know, I like very much to go on Harinam Sankirtan. And that's really what we did every day. We would go out on Harinam. We'd go in the morning and go chant on the street and come back. We'd go out again in the afternoon and chant and come back. And even today, devotees are doing like that in London. They have every day Sankirtan, Harinam Sankirtan. Not many devotees, but a few devotees, a few regular, die-hard, sold-out devotees. They go out every day on street Sankirtan, chant, distribute. Sometimes people come and get a book. So it's a very helpful experience. It gives a very strong foundation to Krishna consciousness, to go out and chant the holy name in the public. So we were doing like that I did like that for maybe a couple of years. Every day we were out on Sankirtan, and we would go out in the winter, in the cold, in the rain, in the snow. You know, we didn't worry about it. We were joyful. And this was impressive to some people also. George Harrison was impressed when he saw the devotees do that. That's why he became so inspired, he wanted to help. That's why he bought the Bhaktivedanta Manor for the devotees. Because he saw that the devotees were really dedicated. And of course we had to endure a lot of obstacles. Not everybody liked us. Some people would get very angry with us. And even we would be arrested sometimes by the police. Why? They would say we're obstructing the highway. You know, they have some funny laws in England. And English policemen are not very friendly. And so we had so many problems, we tolerated so many things, but it was a very joyful experience, just being with all the devotees, living together, working together, eating together, sharing everything. That is really spiritual life, when it's like that. When I joined the movement, I had studied at university. I graduated in engineering. I studied at the university. The name was Hare what? They have branches now. They have a branch in Malaysia and also in Dubai. They've expanded, When I was there, they didn't have so many branches. Anyway, I studied at university. I got a bachelor degree with honors, and I took a job in London, and I was working there, and I had saved some money. So when I joined the movement, I gave everything I had. I didn't think it was a lot of, I didn't have a lot of money, but whatever I had, I gave it to the temple. I thought, why not? I'm a member, I'm a devotee, and the other devotee, the temple needed funds, so whatever I had, I gave it. When I first came, Mukunda was there. He was not a sannyasi yet. He was a householder at that time. His wife had just gone back to America, and he was there in London. And then after some time, he also went back. So we were all very young devotees. I think the devotee in charge of the temple was only about 19. Not very experienced. But Prabhupada came and he saw the situation, and he sent some senior devotees from America to come. They got some people to come from America, a householder couple, and they came and they did a lot of service. And then they got also a sannyasi to come, one American sannyasi. He had been in India with Prabhupada, he was been traveling in India, and then he came, and he was very wonderful, very inspiring for all the devotees. So in those days, we were doing a lot of outreach programs. England is pretty much like that. There's a lot of outreach going on. Go many places, even they have schools, and they come to the temple, they visit the temple all the time. The schools come in big groups. They want to hear what is Hindu religion, right? And so they come to the Hare Krishnas to hear what is Hinduism, because they want the children to know about different religions. So they bring them. They come to our temple and they'll have programs. They have a whole arrangement. Even they take the children on the cart, they take them around the grounds. They have a bullock cart, and the children get in the bullock cart, go around. So brahmacharis are meant to get involved in all of these things, all of this kind of preaching. There'll be different engagements for different people. As young devotees, we need to learn everything. We would have a rota to go in the kitchen. We would all take turns to cook the offerings, right? Are you all cooking sometimes? Never. Very bad. You all have to learn to cook. It's a Vaishnava art. Just Prabhupada was expert cook. You see pictures of Prabhupada in the kitchen. And Prabhupada would bring sannyasi. He would tell Satsvarupa Maharaj, cook me this, cook me that. Harikesh was also cooking. Harikesh Maharaj was also cooking different sannyasis. Prabhupada would tell them to cook. So even the Goswamis are people. I think it was Raghunath Bhatta. He was expert cook. Could cook wonderful dishes. And who else was? Who was cooking? There were some devotees. Who was it? He brought the oil for Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Jagadananda Pandit. Lord Chaitanya said, "You go and cook for me," right? So he could cook. He made the cook for Lord Chaitanya. So cooking, we learned all these things. We learned how to cook. We'd all go in the kitchen. We'd all be rolling chapatis. Everybody will learn how to roll nice chapatis. Somebody's cooking the chapatis, and this is devotional service. Because you've got to learn these things, because the idea is, in the future, you want to go out and open a new center somewhere. Brahmacharis can do that. Brahmacharis are flexible. We would go out, and at least I remember in England we got, after some time, in the beginning we had nothing. We had no vehicles or anything. And we hardly had books. We hardly had any books in those days. We got shipped from Japan, we got some issues of Back to Godhead magazine, which had a cover. The cover was in color, and inside was all black and white. So we had these magazines. Then we got Krishna Book Volume 1. The Krishna Book Volume 1 was there when I joined. I purchased it before I became a devotee. That was how I became a devotee. I was out one day in London and I saw the book and I liked it. I bought a copy and I took it home and I showed it to my friend. And my friend said, "Oh, I've got a book by the same person." And he had the topmost yoga system. And so we were very surprised that, this, and then we looked closely and then we understood, this is Hare Krishna. And we'd heard about Hare Krishna. We'd heard about it because they had made the recording, the Govinda and the Hare Krishna mantra was very famous. And they'd been in the newspapers and they'd been on television singing and dancing. So we'd seen these. And they had opened the center also. They'd opened the center and they had the incense. I used to purchase the incense before I became a devotee. I used to buy a packet of incense, and on the packet of incense it said, it gave the temple address, and it said, "Come for the morning sunrise meditation and Sunday love feast." And I was thinking, I must go. But I never went. So although I was thinking I should go, but I didn't go. But then when I got the book, and my friend had the other book, then my friend went and I also went. We both went to the temple and we both ended up becoming devotees. Yeah. What happened, I was going every night to the arti. Every evening I go to the Sanya Arti, and all the devotees would be there. All the devotees means about 12 devotees or something, Anyway, it was a small temple room, not a very big, but we had Radha Landanishwara, and we had Jagannath Baladev Subhadra also. And so we had the real temple, beautiful Radha Landanishwara deities, marble deities, the very first deities in ISKCON. And so we had, I think there were only 2 brahmanas in the temple. And most of the puja was just done by one lady. The other boy was a brahmana, he didn't like to do much. So this one lady, she was French actually, she was taking care of the deities. And we were all new devotees. I wasn't even a devotee. I started coming, and we'd come to Arti, and they'd have this really ecstatic kirtan. And we would just jump and dance, and just chanting and dancing, and the whole building would be shaking. It was an old building, the whole building was shaking, and the neighbors were always complaining, The neighbors, They didn't even want devotees to move into the building in the beginning, but somehow the devotees, they managed it. Krishna helped. So we were in there every night, kirtan, and sweating, The whole place was soundproofed because they were trying to keep the noise in. So it was very, very hot in there, and we'd do kirtan with sweat and sweat. Oh. So every night I would come and chant, and I enjoyed I was coming regularly. So then a devotee told me, he said, you can stay overnight. We have a morning program. So I said, okay, yeah, I'll stay overnight. What time do you get up? He said, yeah, we get up before 4 o'clock. What? I said, what? I usually go to sleep then, So anyway, I came and stayed in the temple and came to the morning program. Somehow or other, managed to get adjusted to waking up in the morning. And I was going to work in the daytime. Going to work, I was thinking, I'll work because I can give my salary for the temple. The temple needs money. And so I was working and I was giving whatever I got from my job, I give it to the temple. But then devotee said to me, he said, you should give up that job. So I said, okay. Because I was young, I'd only finished college about 6 months. I'd been working just some months. I didn't really care, easy. Can always find another job, why be attached to some stupid job? There's always so many jobs, sudra work, Anyway, I thought, yeah, it's good. Give up the job, become a full-time devotee. But I didn't really like the idea at first that, go out every day chanting in the streets. I thought, I don't know if I like that so much. But they said, no, you have to make the incense. You have to do the business. So I thought, oh, okay, that will be nice. I like that. And so I was making the incense, and the devotees would all help, we'd pack it. Then I would go to shops and I would go to sometimes different towns also, and we would sell it. This way we got some money for the temple. Actually, Bhakti Madhurya Govinda Maharaj, he has one brother. His brother is a Prabhupada disciple, Narayan Prabhu. So he's very famous. He's like the Vishwakarma of ISKCON. So what happened was, we were having Rath Yatra, and so Prabhupada told him to come and help build the Rath Yatra chariot. And so he came to help build the Rath Yatra chariot. But there was only one problem, no money. How do you build a chariot if you don't have any money? No money. And things are not cheap. London, expensive. So the only place to get money was me. I had the money because I was doing the business. I was selling the incense. So he always remembers me when he would see me. He said, oh, I remember that Rath Yatra. He said, yeah. He said, it was a miracle how we did it. No money, but he said, you gave the money from the incense. Anyway, I did that for some time, but other devotees were joining, more people were joining, devotees' temple was getting more and more crowded. When I became the devotee, we were about 20 devotees, but gradually in another year or two, there was about 100 devotees. And we were all living there. And a good number of young men and young women, all young people living there, and all British people, So it was going very well, and we wanted to encourage the Sankirtan more and more. So I got more involved with Sankirtan and let one of the householders take over the business. Because business is not really for brahmacharis. So the brahmacharis, we were out every day on Harinam Sankirtan and book distribution. It's very nice engagement actually, because it means you're associating with the holy name. constantly. Constant association with the holy name. You can see the letters which Prabhupada wrote in those days. He gave instructions like, everyone should join the Sankirtan party as soon as possible. Prabhupada liked to see devotees. They liked to see the Harinam party go out. He liked to see the devotees out there preaching. Because if we're out there chanting and dancing and then also trying to distribute books, then we have to tell people about Krishna. You have to talk to them about Krishna. So, brahmachari life is like that. It's very simple. You don't need a lot of facility. You don't worry about what you're going to eat. Whatever you get, you're satisfied with whatever is provided by the grace of Krishna. You live simply. I remember one time I was put on a Sankirtan party with His Holiness Satsvarupa Goswami. And we had a bus, and we were traveling in the bus. And he made the rule that we could only bring whatever we could tie in a cloth. As much as we could tie in the cloth, that was what we brought. We didn't bring a big bag with a big case or a big box or anything. Just whatever few pieces of cloth you could tie in a cloth, you brought that. And you had a toothbrush, a razor, and that was it. Living very simply. We didn't have much belongings. Nowadays, brahmacharis sometimes have a lot of stuff, They keep many big boxes and bags, and you have to always keep it simple, minimize, don't accumulate, right? The principle to avoid atyahara, over-collecting. And it's very easy to over-collect. Just like I see myself traveling, people come and they give you this and they give you that, and they give you so many things, you have to constantly give it away. People give you things, you give it to somebody else, because you can't carry it, you can't keep all the things with you. So brahmachari life is also like that. You have to keep it simple, you have to minimize your belongings. You don't want to be accumulating too much. So brahmacharis also, they can lay down anywhere and go to sleep, right? I see the brahmachari, some of them, they're so tired, they're working so hard in the service of Krishna, that as soon as they lay down, they're asleep, It's not difficult to go to sleep when you're really working hard in the service of Krishna. So, Sitting. You can go to sleep sitting also, yeah. Yeah, sitting also you can go to sleep. Because brahmacharis are working so much, so many hours in the service of Krishna. If they get 6 hours sleep, they're lucky. Most days they don't even get in 6 hours of sleep. There's 4 hours or something, they're lucky. They wake up. There was one devotee, maybe you heard the name, one devotee, his name was Tribhuvanatha. Tribhuvanatha, he was a devotee in England, Prabhupada disciple. He never slept lying down. He just slept wherever he would fall asleep, in the chair or something. We'd find him in the morning in the chair. He never ever lay down, at night, You'd just find him somewhere in a chair or something. Oh my goodness. So that is the mood of brahmachari life. Very dedicated, you're working hard in the service of Krishna, but ecstatic, happy, not lamenting, not miserable, not complaining about it. Joyful life, happy to be with the other Brahmins, chanting the holy name and dancing, and whatever prasadam is available, we accept that with pleasure. Brahmacharis also don't like to be alone, they don't like to isolate themselves. They like to have the associate, to be with others. There was one devotee, now he's a sannyasi actually, but when he joined, you know, he was a very good man, very educated, from a good family, and very intelligent and like that. But at one point he started to isolate himself away from all the other devotees. You know, put himself in a room, found a little room on his own, like that. He didn't want to stay with all the devotees. So shortly after that, you know, he changed his ashram and, you know, moved. So that's okay, he got married. But, you know, of course the marriage, well, he was married for some years, they had some children, now he's a sannyasi. But I remember Sasvarupa Maharaj mentioning that because he isolated himself, he went away from the other devotees. So that was why he went into the householder ashram. They were hoping he would stay the brahmachari and that he would, you know, do more, but he became a householder. But in the long run, there was no loss. Because now he's a sannyasi and he's a big manager and everything. So there's no loss. I mean, he didn't give up Krishna consciousness. But sometimes we're thinking, oh, if somebody's a brahmachari, they should stay brahmachari. Well, not necessarily. They may stay brahmachari, may become sannyasis. Some brahmacharis go on and become sannyasis, and some become grihastas. And the grihastas also can become later on sannyasis. It's not that they stay grihastas, that they also move on, become vanaprasthas and sannyasis. But the important thing is that we're all deeply attached to Krishna and absorbed in our service to Krishna. So we want to be conscious of that. The external designations are not really so important. But what is important is that we've become strongly attached to hearing and chanting. Right? We don't want to give up our vows. At the time of initiation, we make a vow. 4 regulated principles and 16 rounds. So it's very important to keep these vows, particularly the daily chanting of the holy name, to chant 16 rounds. Now, it takes practice, but it's much easier for us while we're here in the association of so many other devotees. When you stay on your own, or when you go into the grihastha ashram and you have your wife and family, it's not so easy to get people up in the morning. Not so easy to do Mangal Arti, and not so easy to chant. Right? But here in the temple, it's very nice. You can sit here in the morning, you can concentrate on chanting. Nobody's talking, everybody's chanting. Very powerful spiritual atmosphere. So this is the place, and that's the time you can make a lot of advancement. Every morning you come to the morning program and take part in the morning program. Right? We should know very well the Guru Vastikam prayers. We should understand fully the meaning, not only sing them, but also meditate on the instructions which are given there in Guru Vastikam. For a little while, I was in America, in Dallas, when we had a Gurukula there. And I remember there was the boys were there, and when we would wake up the boys in the morning, we would wake them up by reciting a verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam. The verse it's one of the, I think it's one of the last verses in the 10th canto. Jayati janani vaso devaki janani vado yaduvara parashat swayar durbir asana dharmam stirachara vrajanagna susmita srimukena brajamuka vanitandan vardayan kamadevam. We would chant it to the boys to wake them up in the morning. Prabhupada had told us like this, that we should wake up the boys by reciting some verse, and he gave us this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. The meaning of the verse: Lord Sri Krishna is he who is known as Jananivas. You know Jananivas? Jananivas Das? You all know in Mayapur? Lord Sri Krishna is he who is known as Jananivas, the ultimate resort of all living entities. He is also known as Devaki Nandan and Yashoda Nandan, the son of Devaki and Yashoda. He is the guide of the Yadu dynasty. With his strong arms, he kills everything inauspicious. By his presence, he destroys all inauspiciousness for all living entities moving and inert. His blissful, smiling face always increases the lusty desires of the gopis. May he be all glorious and happy. So even today, every morning, I will recite this verse. That's how I can remember it. Prabhupada told us, wake the boys up by reciting this verse. And so, brahmacharis, wake up in the morning, you want to immediately fix the mind on Krishna. Training the mind, right? You want to stay alive in this ashram, you have to train our mind. The mind will resist. The mind doesn't like. The mind says, oh, sleep some more. Why get up so early? The mind says, oh, better go home. You have a nice bed at home waiting for you. Your mother is waiting there to cook for you. You know, the mind will always tell us so many things, you see. You have to train the mind to remember Krishna. So how to do it? By chanting and by hearing. So first thing in the morning, we have to think of Krishna. And last thing at night, you have to think of Krishna. You have to have nice association with some devotees and sit together before you take rest and read Krishna book. Hear the pastimes of Lord Krishna from Krishna book. And if you do this, then you will be able to dream of Krishna. Alright? That's a nice dream. Dream of Krishna and Krishna's pastimes. We have to practice remembering Krishna. Of course, even if you're a householder, you should do like this. Married people also, it's the same principles. Think of Krishna, read the books about Krishna, chant the prayers to Krishna. So we need to get training in the beginning. You know, when I joined the movement, there was no training. There's one devotee, one of my god brothers, his name, Kripa Moya. You heard him? Kripa Moya. He's quite well known. He's a spiritual master. He initiates disciples there in England. And Janava, the girl who sings, that's his daughter, one of his daughters. He's got 3 children. And so Janava, what's the name? I forget. And Janava Harrison. Kripa Moy, his family name is Harrison. So Janava Harrison. She's initiated now, I think by maybe Radhanath or Sachinandan. I don't know. But Kripa Moya Prabhu, when he joined, he always tells, he said, he joined the movement, the next day he was out in the van, traveling Sankirtan. He was sent out with a devotee. So there was no training, you know. You would just, as we went along, gradually we learned some things, you know. It was up to us, everyone as an individual, to learn. Now it's much better, it's much more systematic, and we have things like Bhakti training and everything. So many nice courses are there, so many seminars, and so many brahmachari classes. No, this is all very good. It gives you a chance to learn more and to get more strength to fight the material energy. As Srila Prabhupada used to tell us, that the temple is not a place for lazy or crazy people. You know, in the Western countries, in a place like New York or London, you know, there are a lot of crazy and lazy people. And people generally know, like in London, we have a lunch program. You know, they have people come at lunchtime and we have a class and we give everyone lunch. But there's people take advantage of it. They say, I'll go to Hare Krishna's and eat. I don't have any money, I don't have any job. I can eat in Hare Krishna's every day. So, you know, food is expensive in London. India is not too bad. Delhi is a bit more expensive than Mayapur, but it's a lot cheaper than London. In England, just one potato, one baked potato costs, you know, 100 rupees or more. Really? Yeah, I mean, and Japan is worse. So anyway, in London we have this lunch program. It's been going on for many years now. Many years, maybe 30 years or more. And people come at lunchtime and we give a lecture and then we serve them all prasadam and we preach to them, we talk to them. And of course people do contribute, they give donations. But you always get some people who want to take advantage. So Prabhupada was aware of this from the very beginning, you know, Krishna consciousness. Even probably here in Punjabi Bagh, it may happen like that, you know, the Sunday feast lecture, not many people there. But the Sunday feast prasadam, whoa, many people. Huh? A lot of people. Where did they all come from, you know? They just know the time when it's time for prasadam. So, Prabhupada said, temple is not a place for lazy or crazy people. It's a base for the army to go out and fight Maya. Right? The devotees, the brahmacharis particularly, they're meant to go out and fight Maya. And Prabhupada also said he thought the brahmacharis should travel with the sannyasis for preaching. He thought that would be very nice. The sannyasis go out, then they can arrange programs, the sannyasi will give classes, and the brahmacharis go out and preach. They can do things like make life members and distribute books and arrange the programs for the sannyasis. So this is a very nice scheme if you can arrange like that. Brahmacharis are that way, they get good association with the sannyasi. And so, of course, maybe not in the beginning that the brahmacharis go out. They have to get some training first of all. We have to see who really wants to be brahmachari. And other people, you know, sometimes people come and they stay in the temple for a while, and then after a while they decide, well, I don't think ashram life is for me. I think I'm better suited to be, you know, I'll be a devotee, but I will be outside. That's okay, no problem. Prabhupada said he himself didn't live in the temple. Sometimes people were complaining that they're not living in the temple, they're in Maya, they went outside. But Prabhupada said, well, I never lived in the temple. He said, I never lived in the temple. But he said, I never forgot Krishna. Every day Prabhupada would be doing his chanting and studying, reading all the scriptures and writing. So we shouldn't think that somebody's outside the temple, they're in Maya, but they may be in Maya if they're not following carefully. They have to follow strictly. It's much easier to follow strictly when you're here in the temple, because we have association, right? We know Mangal Arti, we hear, boom, you know, the conch shell goes off and you hear the kirtan, oh, I'm late for Arti, you know, you have to rush. So, Mangal Arti, very important. Prabhupada said, if you miss the Mangal Arti, you should distribute one Krishna book that day. That was a punishment, the fine. If you don't come for the Mangal Arti, then distribute a Krishna book. But if you do come for Mangal Arti, then your day is auspicious. That's a fact. It's an auspicious way to begin the day. And we see with this Purushottam month that many people are coming for the Mangal Arti also, taking advantage of this month. They come, and makes a big difference to the consciousness when you begin the day like that, hearing, chanting, seeing the deities, bowing down, all of these things. Powerful. The morning program, very important. Now sometimes we would go out traveling, and going out traveling in a vehicle meant sometimes our morning program would be affected. We would just, sit in the vehicle and chant our rounds and sleep also, because the whole day you're on the streets trying to distribute books. And so early morning, it's cold, and you're in a little van, and so easy, you've got a big jacket on, a big coat on, trying to keep warm. So you get drowsy, you don't chant very well, and you don't have much of a morning program. So when it happens like that, then your consciousness becomes affected. We need that morning program to keep ourselves spiritually alive. It's very, very important. I remember I was staying one time in the New York temple, and His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami was there. He was a brahmacharya at the time. Jayadvaita Swami was a brahmacharya at this time. But what happened was, he was not able to walk. He had some sickness, some problem. But when it came to Mangal Arti, he dragged himself down 2 flights of stairs to come to the Mangal Arti, because he said, no, I have to come to Mangal Arti. It's so important. Even though he couldn't walk, he couldn't stand on his legs, but he crawled or dragged himself into the temple room. So that's how you can make it as a brahmachari. Jayadvaita, he's very staunch, So when we have that kind of mood to come to Mangal Arti, very good, very nice. I was thinking, he said one time, I don't like women, but he said, this woman had just been leading kirtan. The woman was actually the daughter of Pancharatna Prabhu. You know Pancharatna Prabhu from Mayapur, Prabhupada disciple. He often in Mayapur. He's an American-bodied. So he has a few daughters. I think he has 4 daughters. Anyway, his daughter was leading kirtan. And Jayadvaita Swami said, I don't like women, But after she led the kirtan, he said, that was a good kirtan. And so even he could have, although he's a staunch brahmachari, but he could appreciate that women can also lead very good kirtans sometimes. Of course, we see in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya warns us to be very careful about hearing women sing. Because some woman was singing the songs of Gita Govinda, and Lord Chaitanya heard it, and he started to run, and he was running and running, and Govinda just managed to grab him and tell him, it's a woman, it's a woman. And Lord Chaitanya then came to his external consciousness and told Govinda, you have saved my life. He said, you should always be with me, never leave me. Because Lord Chaitanya was on such a high platform, he was hearing the words of Gita Govinda, the singing, and it was so beautiful, it was so alluring. His love for Krishna was aroused, and he was running towards that person. But Govinda saved him. So like that, we have to also be careful in general, brahmacharis. We're not against women, but we're careful how we associate with them. How we only talk to them as much as necessary. Must be something, some business. We have some business, we may talk to them, but we don't want to develop friendly relationships. Anyway, you're very lucky here. You don't have women living in the temple. Outside India, it's very different. You don't have women going on the altar. You go to other countries and you'll see women on the altar. And you'll see also women, so many women, they may even be living in the centers. And of course they do a lot of service. They do wonderful service. Some of them are very dedicated preachers and book distributors, and some of them are very scholarly also. We have some very elevated, enlightened women in our movement. But we have to be a little cautious about how we associate with them. As brahmacharis, as the opposite sex, we have to always remember. Brahmachari, well, it said Chanakya Pandit said, a learned man is one who sees all other ladies except his wife as mother. So generally we also should think of the other ladies like mother. However, in the West, women don't like to be called mother. You have to call them Prabhu. So many things are different. And here in India, usually you don't call women Prabhu, but, Matajis, right, Matajis, Mataji, mother, right? Things are different outside of India. India is land of its own, that's why we have good success in our preaching here in India. Preaching's going on very nicely. Of course, it's also going very well in Bangladesh, and Nepal is also doing very good, these countries. Gradually, Krishna consciousness is spreading. So, maintaining the temples is a very important job, to make sure the temples are maintained. Prabhupada said, once a temple is opened, it cannot be closed. So who's going to maintain the temples? It should really be the brahmacharis. We need the brahmacharis that maintain the temple. They should be doing every morning, do the puja. And the brahmacharis can also cook. We have a lot of nice Bhakti Bringa Govinda Maharaj. Before he took sannyas, his name was Ayodhyapati. He was in charge of the kitchen there in Vrindavan and Krishna Balaram Mandir. He's an expert cook. He's a really good cook. And you know, he could cook big feasts, just like he does big kirtan, he could do also a big feast. These are all the Vaishnava arts, kirtan and cooking, very important, as well as preaching. So brahmacharis also, they should, you know, they should get involved with these things. Prabhupada went to America and he was cooking for everybody. If you go to open a center somewhere, you have to cook for them. When I started to go to China, I had one pot and I had one electric hot plate. And I would carry that in my bag and I would go and I would cook every day. And Chinese devotees would come and eat and I would cook. You know, I just had one pot. Sometimes I'd make chapati on the hot plate, you know. I was alone. I was on my own sometimes in China. Because at one point even I was teaching English. I had a job in the school, in the university, teaching English. So I was staying on my own, and people would come and eat. They'd take lunch with me every day. And I would cook khichdi, often khichdi and rice and sabji. And it's very simple. But, you know, they appreciate the home cooking. We don't like to be dependent on others. We like to be able to look after ourselves. It's much better. So, of course we all depend on Krishna, but at the same time, depending on Krishna, we have to endeavor with our intelligence how to do everything, how to maintain everything. So maintaining this big temple, so many big temples are coming up in Delhi. How to maintain them? The devotees required. If we have nice brahmacharis preaching and doing kirtan, doing the deity worship, just like in Mayapur, Pankajangari and Chananivas Prabhu, along with Kurma Prabhu, they're doing the deity worship there in Mayapur for a long time. And now they have a big team of devotees all helping them. So that's the idea, you know, Prabhupada was one person, he trained up others. So, you start off doing something, you train up other people to do it also. Not that you have to keep doing it all the time, but you train up others that they will also do these things. Like book distribution. You know, the devotees began it, and now all is going on here. It's continuing, the devotees in India are continuing to distribute the books. So maybe we'll stop and ask if there's some questions. We can talk more about what you would like to hear about rather than what I have on top of my head. Yes? Well, you know, I joined the movement when I was 21 or 22. Prabhupada was 75. You know, and I joined the movement knowing nothing. And Prabhupada had spent his whole life as a Vaishnava. So, you know, I was afraid to ask anything to Prabhupada because I really didn't know anything. So I just tried to hear everything from Prabhupada. Just tried to take advantage of Prabhupada's presence, to hear what he was saying. So being around Prabhupada didn't keep a lot of people around him. He just had a few intimate associates with him. So I didn't have a lot of interaction with Prabhupada. Sometimes we go on a walk with Prabhupada. Sometimes Prabhupada would tell some stories or something. Sometimes he would just chant. But generally I just kept quiet and just tried to hear from Prabhupada. You know, if I was to speak, then... Yes, Brahma?
The Sri Krishna used to travel with the devotees in the early days of the movement. That was the 5 days. I would like to share how you used to manage your morning program, because you during the traveling you don't know where you will stay, how Prashad, what you will prepare and everything.
Yes, well, I was saying it was very difficult, that often our sadhana would be affected when we were traveling around and staying, sometimes often sleeping in the van and no proper bathing. Sometimes we would have a big plastic container, we'd fill it up with water at a petrol station, and then in the morning we'd use that to take bath, just pour the water over ourselves. And so, you know, we'd go outside in the street and just take a bath in the street, you know, in the middle of the night. You know, and sometimes even if it snowed, we'd take the snow and rub the snow on ourselves, you know. So we were... Prabhu Vishnu wrote to Prabhupada about this and described what they were doing and how they were living. And Prabhupada wrote a very wonderful letter back to him. And he told him, he said, yes, he said, I can tell this is all just like play for you. This is just like fun and games for you. He said, you're doing more austerities than even great yogis, but it is all just like play. He said, you're making great advancement by living in this way. And because the daytime we just go out and distribute books, tell people about Krishna. Living so simply, we would cook for ourselves. We have some kerosene stove or something, do some cooking.
Just like you mentioned, you have less interaction with the Srila Prabhupada, but at the same time, you had a good association with the Maharaja Maharaj. In our tradition also, we also have less interaction with our spiritual master, but at the same time we have senior God brothers. So how should we extrapolate this thing in our life also? How many lessons we derive from the Bhagavad Purana and so many instructions maybe we have received from him?
Well, we have to try to learn not to take advantage of the association, but try to hear carefully and understand their mood and their desire. Somebody like Tamal Krishna Goswami, he had a lot of association with Srila Prabhupada. So he'd been trained by Prabhupada. So I understood he'd been trained by Prabhupada. Prabhupada actually said, Tamal Krishna Goswami, he can walk through fire. So I said to Tamal Krishna Maharaj one time, I said, can you please train me to walk through fire? So this is the result. I became a sannyasi. You see, sannyasis walk through fire. So we have to be very careful associating with such senior devotees. We would often say, don't get too close and don't get too far away. You have to be careful. You get too close, you think of them as an ordinary person and you minimize their exalted position. And you think maybe they're on the same level as you, as I am, or they are. But also you don't want to get too far away. You want to be hearing, you want to be feeling fortunate to be in their association and to be able to hear from them. So this is the principle. Don't be over familiar. You know, just like one time Prabhupada was preaching and another devotee started to interrupt. While Prabhupada was speaking, the other devotee started to say something like, you know, instructing the devotee. But Prabhupada said, this is offensive. He said, first of all, he said, you don't instruct the glories of the holy name to faithless persons. The devotee was trying to tell the person to chant Hare Krishna, but Prabhupada was first of all trying to give the person faith, to understand the need to chant Hare Krishna. So we have to be very careful when you associate with the senior Vaishnavas.
I just want to ask this, how can one maintain a very good balance between sadhana, seva, sambandh and swasthya, health? In this preaching moment, sometimes it is very dynamic, sometimes your sadhana gets suffered, sometimes your health gets suffered. So how one can, for a longer run, maintain these parameters in one's life?
Yes, well, you have to be careful to keep yourself healthy. Just like in the winter time, it can be very cold here. You have to have enough cloth. You have to also, here in the summertime, it's very hot. You have to take more bath. You have to keep yourself refreshed. Drink enough water. You have to also get some exercise. Join the kirtan. Chant and dance. If you're dancing in the kirtan, helps you to keep healthy. I remember seeing devotees dancing. I would watch who's dancing in the kirtan, and I'd see those devotees who are dancing in the kirtan, they're still in the movement today because they danced. They're very eager, and they're very eager. They would start dancing in the kirtan, Mongol Arti. They would be dancing quickly, not waiting till the last minute of the kirtan to dance, but from the, quite early on they would start dancing. So these people are very strong in Krishna consciousness. So taste like that for the holy name, to join in the kirtan. This keeps you healthy. Also, you be careful about eating. Don't eat too much. Don't eat too little. You have to know what is the right amount for you. And you have to be careful also what you eat. When I joined the movement, we were trained certain things we should do. For example, Prabhupada said, no yogurt after 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Right? Feel the pulse in China and also in Ayurveda. So they have a saying in Chinese, they say that the breakfast, you should eat good breakfast. Lunch, you should eat full. And at night, you should eat less. Just recently, I was in Malaysia, and one Chinese doctor came there. He was brought there to treat His Holiness Jaipataka Swami Maharaj. He's trying to help Jaipataka. So this man, famous Chinese doctor, very successful. And he gave a talk to all the devotees there. And he said, I can cure all your health problems if you do not eat after 2 o'clock in the afternoon. He said, don't eat after 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And even in some countries, in the Buddhist countries, for example, in Thailand, because I also preach in Thailand, it's a Buddhist country, and so people often ask you, how many meals do you eat a day? And if you say 3, they'll say, oh, you are not a monk. Because a monk will not eat 3, he will eat twice. He will eat in the morning and he will eat in the midday. After 12 o'clock, the Buddhist monk is not supposed to eat. They can drink, but they don't eat. So, when you live like that, when you regulate yourself, you eat a good breakfast, you eat a full lunch, you eat less, very less at night, then it's better for your health. Ayurveda say, as the sun moves rises and sets, the power of digestion will increase as the sun rises and decrease as the sun sets. So the power of digestion is a maximum at midday. You should eat the food, the best meal should be in the middle of the day. So same thing, the ancients know much more than the so-called modern people. We learn a lot from the past, from these ancient teachings. So you want to keep good health? Just like Prabhupada, the doctor told Prabhupada when he had some health problem, the doctor told him, you should go for a walk. And Prabhupada went every day for a morning walk. Initially Prabhupada wasn't walking, but after he got some health problem with his heart, the doctor told him, you should go for a walk, Swamiji. Prabhupada began every day, he would go for a walk. That's also good for health. I think His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj also goes for a walk, right? Yeah? You go for a walk with Gopal Krishna Maharaj? Yeah, it's a good thing to keep healthy. You need to do these kind of things. If you sit around all day, no exercise, it's not very good. You sit and look in a computer all day in an air-conditioned room, you're not going to be healthy. Don't expect to be healthy living like that. You have to get fresh air, you have to get exercise. So you have to make a balance. You want to make the best of this life, to use this body in the service of Krishna, we have to know how to do it. We have to control the tongue, and we have to do these other different things, like exercise, walking. If you don't do it when you're young, you'll regret it when you're old. Problem? How to chant attentively? Well, there are several things you can do to help you to chant attentively. One thing you can do is chant more. You do more chanting, that will help you to become more attentive. Another thing is to chant early in the morning. Brahma Muhurta is the best time to chant the holy name. You should chant in the temple room, in the association of other devotees, where people are all concentrating and sitting chanting. You're not going to get distracted. We see a lot of people, they have the japa beads in one hand and the mobile phone in the other hand, right? And they're chanting about, who's sending me messages, and that's not good chanting. Turn off your mobile phone. Get rid of your mobile phone. Put it down for the japa class. Just concentrate on chanting. Also, you should get a good night's rest so you can get up early in the morning. You want to wake up early to chant the holy name. You want to be fresh. When we're very tired, then it's not so easy to chant the holy name. Of course, if we're tired, then we should stand up and walk. You can walk around and chant. You don't have to sit down and chant. Another thing you need to do to be alert, you keep your back straight. In the Srimad Bhagavatam it's mentioned like that. You keep your back straight, you won't fall asleep. As soon as the back bends, you go to sleep. You got to sit up straight. Don't sit like that. Sit properly, right? Prabhupada often said, sit properly. So these are all common sense. You chant in the temple room, it's very good for chanting. Nice early morning. People are here even before Mangal Arti. I see devotees chanting here. Very nice. So, if we want to chant, louder chanting also can help. Right? When you chant loud, Hare Krishna! Right? When you chant loud, you're much more, It really is really attentive chanting. So you chant loudly, you feel the power. How are we doing? What's the time? 3 o'clock. Time for prasadam. No? Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki.